Alright, so we'll be solving quadratic equations using the factorization method, and then we'll go into the quadratic formula. Now, once you get a question of this nature, this requires us to do AC factorizing because it's 3 parts, and the AC method is the same thing as the basic AC factorization method, where you label your terms. So the coefficients of each part is what you would call A is a coefficient of x squared always. For B, it's a coefficient of x. And C would be the coefficient, well, the constant. Now, once you label those, you find the multiple of AC. So you'll multiply A and C. So in this case, A is 2, C is 3. So you say 2 times 3. And that would give us 6. Now, you have to now find all the numbers that can multiply to give you 6, but when you add them together, you get -5. Now, the fact that AC is a positive number and B is a negative number, you already know you're looking for 2 negative numbers, because you can only multiply 2 negative numbers and get a positive, but when you add them, you still get a negative. So, the 2 numbers that can multiply to give you 6, you can have 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. Now 1 times 6, or -1 times -6, when you add those together, that's -7. So and when you use -2 times -3, that gives you +6. But when you add them together, you get -5. So the factors would be -2 and -3. So we'll substitute them in now. So 2x squared minus 2x minus 3x plus 3, and that's equal to 0. So we bring back down to 0. Now, the x's come back because you have to bring back the x that's attached to b. And then once you get to this stage, you group them up and you see what's common. So group, 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 group. So looking in this bracket, you see the 2's that are common, and x's are common as well, so you factor that out. When you divide, so then you divide 2x squared divided by 2x. That leaves you with just an x. Put back your sign. 2x divided by 2x, that's 1. Minus, look in this bracket, what's common? You see 3. So 3x divided by 3, that leaves you with x. Put back the 3 divided by 3, that's 1. Now for the sign, a tip that you can use, if the sign here and the sign here are not the same, inside must always have a minus. But if the two signs are the same thing, so if it's plus here, you put a plus here. If it's minus, minus, plus. Minus, plus, minus. So once these two are different, here must have a minus. But if they're the same thing, here must be a plus. And this is equal to 0. Now, you realize the brackets are the same, so you just group them. So x minus 1, once, and then you group what's outside. So that's 2x minus 3 equals 0. Now, once you get here, because you are solving the equation, you split your thing. So x minus 1, that's one part, and that must be equal to 0. And the other part, 2x minus 3 equal to 0. So you break them apart, break each bracket, because the thing about these, they are multiplying. And once this bracket is 0, it automatically means that all of this is 0. And if this is 0, it automatically means that all of this will give you 0 when they multiply. So let's solve this part now. So x minus 1 equals 0. So you're transposing in a sense to get x by itself. So it means that here you need to get rid of this 1. And for you to do that, you do the opposite operation. So x is equal to, so technically you bring this over. Once it comes over, it becomes the opposite. So 0 plus 1, because it's negative here, so it comes over, becomes positive. So x equals 1. And we know that normally what you really do is to do the same thing on both sides. But this is a shortcut that we as teachers sometimes explain, so you can follow. Same thing, 2x minus 3 equals 0. So you still need to get rid of the 3 first. So you get rid of the single parts first. So do the same thing. So 2x equals 0, that was there first. And now the 3 will come over. It was minus here, so it comes over as positive. So 2x is equal to 3. So now you are still not yet at the place where x is by itself. So you need x to be by itself. So how do we get that? You get rid of the 2. Now the 2 and the x, they are multiplying each other. So you do the opposite, which is to divide. So you'll say x is equal to the 3 that was there first, divided by 2. And you can stop there. Or if you want to change 3 over 2 as a decimal, you can do that. So x would be equal to 1.5 if you change it as a decimal. So those would be the answers for this question if you solve it using the factorization method. So this would be what we call the AC factorization. So that's AC factorization. Now you can also solve equations using the quadratic formula. And the quadratic formula is where we write the letter x equals, and there's always a fraction part. So it's minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. Now, it's the same formula, the same labeling that you use. So you then go through. So x equals, you draw your fraction line, you put back your minus sign, put an open bracket, and now you start to fill in the things. So it says b. When you look over here, b is -5, so you put back -5. Put back your plus, minus. You put your square root sign. B again is -5, so you put -5 squared minus 4 times. A is 2, so you put 2 to replace the A, times C is 3, so you replace that. Then you go below, so that's 2, and A is 2, so you put 2 here. And then you start to solve, work it out piece by piece now. Now, negative and negative here, that makes a plus. So you can just drop that part and put 5. Plus, minus, square root. So you work out each piece. So -5 squared, that's 25. Minus 4 times 2 times 3, so 4 2 is 8. 8 times 3, 24. And then you work this out, that's 4. You continue. So x equals 5 plus or minus, you work this, so square root. 25 minus 24, that's 1 over 4. So x equals 5 plus or minus, and you work out what the square root of 1 is, and that would be 1. Now, when you get here, you have 2 things alone at the top and 1 at the bottom. So you split your thing now. So x equals 5. So because you realize it's always plus or minus, it means you have to separate the signs now. So on this side, I'll take the plus. So plus 1 over 4. And on this side, I'll put x equals 5 minus 1 over 4. So you see, the plus is on this side, the minus is on that side. And then you start to work them out. So x equals 5 plus 1, we get that as 6 over 4. And you can simplify this to say 2 can go into both. So 2 can go into 6, 2 can go into 4. So you can get 3 over 2. And you know that this being a decimal would still be x equal 1.5. This side now, x equals 5 minus 1 is 4 over 4. So x is equal to 4 over 4 is the same thing as 1. So you see both methods. So 1.5, 1.5, 1, 1. So both methods are able to give you the same answer. All you need to do is remember both, because there will be cases where AC doesn't work or it's not the most logical one to work because the numbers are too big sometimes, or you can't find a factor that you can multiply a and c and get b in. So you use the quadratic formula. And then you need to also know the AC factorization method, because if there's a case where when you multiply 4 times a times c, it is bigger than b squared, it will not work because you cannot find the square root of a negative number in basic high school math. So that covers the AC factorization method and the quadratic formula. So I hope this helps you and you are able to now solve quadratic equations using either AC method or the quadratic formula.